Rawr XD.
Roar.
Raw XD, bro.
What the fuck? Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact. And it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. I dare ya. Today we're jumping into some r/Legbeard stories. They pretty tasty. The last one is a bit above and beyond, but you know we like to push the envelope on this channel. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what is offered here today, so you can consider yourself warned. Even aside from the plugs and the warning disclaimer that I put at the beginning of every video, I'm telling you now, with my mouth, that last story is wild, as you can probably tell from the title, so maybe it's too far, I guess we'll see. Let's jump into this thing. Body positive Legbeard screams and gets aggressive over my hypoglycemic snacks. Body positivity is a good thing, but it can go too far. Alright, my lads and my ladies, I have two Neckbeard stories to share. One from school, another one from work. However, this Neckbeard is of the female variety today. Ooh, my. This happened a year ago during my senior year, and I will never forget it. P.S. I'm writing on my cell phone, so excuse the grammar mistakes. People involved. OP, 5'10", 20-year-old who trains every day and manages sugar. Also hypoglycemic and really into metal. Thrash for the win. I mean, I'm more into punk, but it's kind of down the same lines. Poundbeard, 238 plus pounds, always wore a jacket, and was really into body positivity. The ultimate nice girl / bitch. Kay, a good friend of mine that I hung out with, she supported me through this entire ordeal. A chill friend who took no shit, Kay's boyfriend. Various metal and geeky friends. And now the story. Before I went to this school, I went to an inner city school for all of high school until my senior year. To protect my identity, I'll explain the town lightly. It's a very small truck stop of a town with a good amount of people. There's only one high school and that's about it. My first day of my senior year was pretty chill. I got the occasional offhand look, like any out-of-towner did, and I quickly made friends with Kay, who was a native and lived there her whole life. She helped me fit in and gave me tours of the school for my first 2 classes. She explained how lunch hour worked and that students were given free rein to study or eat, which seemed alien to me. I chose to eat that day with her and her boyfriend, and that was when I met Poundbeard. She sauntered up to me with a greasy jacket and equally fry-dipped hair. The worst part was that she was overweight, which I don't have a problem with, as I have some great friends who are overweight. But dear reader, we know some things must be kept set in stone. I kid you not, she came running up in the shortest of shorts. Her muffin top hid anything that might have scarred me for life. Kay immediately looked distraught and nearly slammed her lunch down on my side of the table to make room for approaching Poundbeard. When she sat, the table shook. She began to pester Kay about her new teachers. Kay did not look very happy to see her there. It wasn't long before Poundbeard noticed that I existed.
Oh, a new friend!
She looks towards Kay with a very nasty glance.
I guess Kay's looking for a replacement, huh?
I jumped on that quickly. I had a large track record with JROTC and a number of extra activities similar to it, and I hated when people acted like this towards others, but instead I believed that my comment just angered the beast even more. No, I'm new and she's showing me around. Poundbeard seemed to scoff at that. I later told my friend Kay that I was going off to the library. She and her boyfriend followed just to escape Poundbeard. Later they told me that Poundbeard had an aggressive history of torturing her classmates, from dumping milk on Kay's head to attacking a boy who refused to go out with her. At first I thought that these were just over-exaggerations, but it wasn't, and you shall see later why. A week later, I took to eating lunch in the library. It was quiet, peaceful, and I didn't have to deal with Poundbeard's heavy breathing while I ate. This time I had brought myself some snacks, crackers and Pop Tarts. Since I have hypoglycemia, eating these snacks was important. One day a code yellow was announced, and lunch lasted 3 full hours. What's a code yellow? Somebody peed their pants? A code yellow alert signifies no immediate danger within the building or on the campus, but a situation has arisen requiring all students and all staff to stay in classrooms. So yeah, somebody peed their pants, basically. K was with me, and so was A. Unfortunately, Poundbeard found her way in before the code was announced. For the first hour, I spent hanging with a fellow metalhead who invited me to play Clue. As I played, I ate a Pop Tart. It had already been 3 hours, and I feared my sugar would drop if they kept us longer than I was expecting. When Poundbeard joined the game, I got a little peeved because she tried snatching some of my Pop Tarts. This was without asking, and I quickly moved it away. This seemed to piss her off a bit because she was heavily breathing as she spoke.
I thought we were friends. You aren't supposed to be eating anyways.
Then she left and told the librarian, Mrs. G, who I had already made aware of my hypoglycemia before I decided to eat it all. She allowed me as long as I cleaned up my mess and didn't sell it. I'm selling Pop Tarts, how many you want? I watched Mrs. G smile in the usual way and tell Poundbeard that I was hypoglycemic and that I was allowed to eat. This angered Poundbeard even more, especially now that she couldn't get to me that way. I explained to my friends why I had to eat, to which she said I shouldn't
rub my illnesses in other people's face,
which got her ejected from the game completely. The antics were only stepped up from there. Poundbeard would make offhand comments about me being hypoglycemic and at an okay weight, saying that I had
thin privilege to eat whenever I wanted,
or
how I was faking it all to be a fat ass.
I never approached her with these comments, ever, as then I was very patient and I just ignored them. She then began to talk shit directly about me, which led to some students getting onto me for eating. Eventually, I had to eat my quick snacks in the bathroom to prevent getting shit from other students for them. I won't be too mad, OP. Pop Tarts taste better on the toilet. That's just science. All food tastes better when you're sitting on the toilet. Try it out sometime. That's a joke, maybe. Poundbeard's reign of terror eventually ended one lunch. She admitted that
she had a crush on some boy.
Some poor, innocent lad who was being relentlessly stalked on Facebook. She even saved his photos to make it even creepier. Kay, obviously wanting to get rid of Poundbeard, told her to go ask that boy out. Here's where I should add that the school resource officer hangs out with us during lunch. She went over to that boy, who was several tables away with his friends. We could see them exchange words, and the boy very politely turned Poundbeard down. What came next I had never seen before in my life. She grabbed the boy's tray and threw it in his face, screaming how he was a
fat, phobic, privileged asshole!
Then got even angrier when the female friends of the guy defended his honor. The officer at our table rushed over and handcuffed her. Wow. Dragging her out as she read like a pig. We didn't see Poundbeard for several days, but when we did see her again, she was of course back to making terrible comments about my hypoglycemia. Eventually I'd had enough one day and just told her to fuck off. K&A did too, and Poundbeard never talked to us again. I found her Tumblr blog from that year, and I won't share it as it could be active. However, she mentions in full detail about me
using my illnesses to rub it in her face
and
using thin privilege to eat in class.
I showed some of the people involved a year later, and we laughed our asses off. TLDR. Well, I gotta say first off that the story was just written horribly. Not the worst that I've ever encountered, but man, some paragraphs would really help me out here. However, I have to admit to myself that Legbeard stories are rare, so when I find one, I'm just like, alright, pull the trigger. And it wasn't the worst thing ever. It was relatively interesting. Particularly the part where Poundbeard is like, oh, you're rubbing your illness in people's face. The irony there is just so palpable. Because most body positivity people will be like, oh, I'm fat because it's like a genetic issue. Well, guess what? So is hypoglycemia. I'm relatively familiar with it, and you can get it from like illnesses, but there's also insulin overproduction and hormone deficiencies. There's also excessive alcohol consumption, but I don't think OP has a problem with that. So yeah, it's a genetic issue that OP is dealing with in the best way that they can, and for some reason this woman just takes an issue with it. I guess she really likes Pop Tarts enough to harass other people and instigate other people to harass other people, which is the most wild thing about it. How does she have that sort of sway? I mean, I know she has a gravitational pull, but does that equate to clout? Wild, just wild. I'm glad you eventually got out of the situation, OP. At least the teachers understood, which is really what's important. You can't really get in trouble. It's just like peer pressure. And at the end of the day, fuck peer pressure. It doesn't mean anything. Oh no, fellow students don't think I'm cool or something. Well, guess what? In another year or two, I ain't never gonna see you fuckers ever again. So I'm gonna eat my Pop-Tart and I'm gonna love it. It's better than passing out from low blood sugar, isn't it? Fuck them at the end of the day. Lordy. Anyways, we'll get into the next story and we'll see how it goes. Let's roll on. I dated a Legbeard. Female neckbeard story. Pop Tarneck Pop is the user. Is he a Pop-Tart? So he probably dated the Legbeard from the last story, right? It's all coming together. It's a horrible joke, but I'm gonna leave it in. Hey, I'm sure many of you have read stories like this, but I thought I'd tell you my tale of the time that I dated a Legbeard in high school. For this story, I'll be calling the Legbeard LB, and I'll be calling myself T. This story takes place literally my freshman year of high school, specifically my second semester. At the time, I hadn't exactly been looking to get into the dating scene just yet, since, of course, it was my first year, and I doubted that any relationship would last long since I was still basically a child. That is an inordinate amount of self-reflection for a 9th grader to have, okay? Already, I think we're fudging facts, but we'll continue on. Now, I should probably give you a bit of context about me. I'm not exactly a looker, not by any means. I stood at around 5'11" and was overweight, still am today. I had long hair that went down to my shoulders due to a metal phase that I was going through, and I typically wore t-shirts with puns on them and black sweatpants, and I had a lip piercing. I know, I was an edgy kid. Whoa, so edgy. My first encounter with Legbeard was with a mutual friend that her and I had. We all met at the table during lunch on the first day back, and she introduced me to Legbeard. Now, some context for Legbeard. She was a sophomore at our high school, though she was already 17 due to being held back a full year. She stood at 5'2", but what she lacked in height, she more than made up for in width. Weighing nearly 400 pounds. Bro, seriously? How does she walk? Now I know we're fudging facts. At the time, she had shorter hair than me, surprisingly, and had acne that made her look like she had just shoved her face into a pizza. She always wore a jacket that looked like it had oil spread across the sleeves of it, and not car oil. I'm talking about oil used for deep frying. Her odor, though, was the most disgusting part about her. It smelled like roadkill mixed with freshly diced onions. And that is a terrible smell, unless you're a redneck. And then you just smells like dinner. Anyways, her and I talked, mostly due to me feeling kind of bad for her. If neither me or my friend sat there, she'd just always sit alone. I found out that she's actually a fan of a few things that I am, such as weeb shit animes and some bands. One thing that I couldn't help but feel awkward about, though, is that whenever we talked, she'd always talk as if she was like a scene kid from 2007 MySpace with the whole RAR XD bullshit. Did she say XD? IRL? She say IRL? IRL? God damn it. After about a month of knowing this girl, she somehow finds me on Facebook, which doesn't even have my actual name attached to it. I went by a nickname since so many kids in my class had the same name. This meant that she most likely just asked a friend for it. I didn't exactly think much of that at the time, so I accepted her friend request. Biggest mistake I ever made. She began messaging me not long after that, and the talking that was usually reserved for the few times that we met at the lunch table was now almost a daily occurrence. Luckily though, we usually talked in a group chat with the friend that I mentioned earlier, so conversations didn't exactly get dull. There was one conversation though that went similar to this. Friend: "Hey T, Legbeard has something to ask you." OP: "Oh, well, Why doesn't she just ask me? Friend, she's hanging with me at the moment, and she doesn't have her phone. OP, okay, what does she want? Friend, she wanted to know if you'd like to go on a date. It took me a minute to acknowledge that what she was asking me was actually real. I mean, of course I was being nice to Legbeard, but I didn't think that our friend was thinking that we were hitting it off exactly. At the most, I thought we were just normal acquaintances. Anyways, so me being the nice and dumb guy, decided to say, why the fuck not? OP, sure, I guess. Friend, great, I'll let her know. Bruh. What's up with these OPs that are like, I'm not attracted to you at all, but I'll go on a date with you? Stop it! Get some help. Let's fast forward to what exactly Legbeard wanted to do for a date. It was 6 o'clock, about a week later from the previous conversation, and me, not having a license due to my age, waited about 30 minutes for Legbeard to pick me up. She arrived in a 2001 Toyota Camry that was rusted beyond all hell, and it looked like it was dipping to the side that Legbeard was sitting on. Probably because it was. I opened the passenger door, and I am met by piles of fast food cups and bags covering the front and back passenger seat. That's a Beardmobile, alright.
Just scoot it over,
Legbeard says. I obliged, hesitantly, and pushed the garbage, calling it simply what it is, into the back seat. Once I'm all buckled in with my soda-stained seatbelt, she starts driving. Where are we going? I ask. We hadn't talked about just what it was we were doing for this date. I had simply thought we'd discuss it for a brief moment and then drive there. I had about $50 on me, so most restaurants were on the table.
The library has an anime night with all the free ramen you can eat. I thought we'd go there.
What? Go get library ramen, bro? I pass already. How romantic. Instead of questioning her, I just shrugged it off and said it was cool with me. Hey, now I got some free cash for some other shit. Plus, I was a fucking weeb. Might as well go weeb out. We got to the library about 20 minutes later, and we walked inside. She keeps trying to grab my hand, and I keep shrugging her off. Eventually, we get to the room, and oh my god, it's just a sea of neckbeards. The whole room smelled like Cheeto dust and gym socks. My only solace while we were there was the fact that we sat in the back where it was less up in your face. I sit there beside her and talk with her for a bit. Again, we chatted about the common interests that we had at the time, but I couldn't see that spark that tends to happen at the start of relationships. Everything's going smoothly until she hits me with a bombshell.
So, what's your thoughts on tentacle hentai?
Not positive. I nearly spat out my drink when she asked me such a question in an incredibly crowded place. Who asks these questions? Shouldn't there be some unspoken rule in conversation where fucking hentai should just not be brought up? I don't know. I don't exactly watch hentai, I said, setting down my glass.
Well, I think it's incredible. I would love to have a tentacle beast just shove its tentacles inside all of my holes until I'm gagging.
Oh, that's good cringe. God. This bitch had no shame. After that remark, I couldn't be asked to talk to this woman seriously. Legbeard was just too fucking weeby, even for my tastes. The night quickly came to a close after that, and she drove me home. We said our goodbyes, and I went inside my house and climbed into bed. Immediately, I was bombarded with texts from, you guessed it, Legbeard. The messages ranged from,
I had a good time tonight,
and,
will you be my senpai?
Followed by the infamous
Whoa!
emojis that people have been sending around recently. I didn't respond to any of the messages until I got something that would haunt my dreams. About an hour after the first storm of messages came up, I was sent an image. Originally, my phone didn't show any actual image with it, so I opened it. And my god, I truly regretted it. Legbeard had decided to send me a picture of her unwashed, and lice-infested vag. Oh, God. I'm not joking. It looked like a roast beef sandwich from an Arby's dumpster turned sideways. Oh, God. Oh, I was totally serious about the fucking lice. I could literally see fine bugs glistening in her pubes from the light of the camera. Oh, God, OP, stop. It's too much. Jesus Christ. Needless to say, I vomited. And immediately stopped talking to her. I avoided her for about a year before she finally stopped messaging me, actually having to threaten to get the police involved once she turned 18. I removed her from all of my social medias and had to explain to my friend why I had blocked Legbeard. Once I told her everything, she decided to put their friendship on a permanent hiatus. Thanks for reading. Sorry it was long. Just thought I'd share some shit with y'all. Some shit indeed, dude. The story started out slow, but my God, did it pick up near the end. I just can't. I got so many questions. I mean, the tentacle hentai, okay, I could get over it, you know. You're into what you're into. No kink shame, but also no kink same. You know what I mean? I ain't into it, but if you like it, then whatever. The thing I got the most questions about is the fucking lice. How do you not know? How do you not know? I mean, she's 400 pounds, so she probably can't see her vagina at all. But you took the picture. Did you not inspect the picture to see what you were sending to another human being? Or you just thought like, wow, this'll get him hard. He'll come running after this. There's also the question of like, how do you even get lice? Don't you have to get like physically intimate with somebody? Was somebody doing this, Legbeard? Honestly, I mean, nobody's gonna take credit for it, but somebody might have been down there. I think you can also get it from like dirty bed sheets or something like that. Dirty clothes, which that wouldn't surprise me either, I suppose. Jesus. I also don't think I could participate in all-you-can-eat ramen in a room full of neckbeards. Who knows what those neckbeards have done with that ramen. Please, do not touch it. I'll spend $1 and get some fucking ramen myself. That's also the first time I've ever heard of like eating being promoted in a library. So I'm a little bit like skeptical that the ramen part actually happened, but the story cut me deep, man. It was high quality cringe. Jesus. But I hope that you enjoyed it on some level, friends. I know that I did. I'm just a sucker for that cringe. I hope that you'll like, comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy the video and want to see some more Legbeard content. Don't hesitate to check out the links in the description. We got a bunch of stuff that wasn't on the splash page, including my wife's channel and my personal subreddit if you'd like to share some stories with me. You're also seeing some names on the screen right now, and those are my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons, and I would like to thank them all, but specifically Lady Nix, Robert Waits, Pope Squid, Rebecca H, Cider Drinker, Tato Ferret, The Last Shinobi, Mark 211, Michael Undead, Aaron W, Mitch, John Hero, Josh K, Candy Sora, and Digi NZ. Knock it out! Obviously, if you guys can support monetarily, that is massively, massively appreciated, but if you can't, then don't worry about it so much. I just appreciate you coming on through and hanging out with me today, and I hope you'll come back and hang out with me again tomorrow, because the views in the end is really what matters. That is how I keep my beard buttered. This is indeed my full-time job. So in order to join us tomorrow, you're going to need to keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands all the time, super important, but also don't forget to take some time out and do something that you enjoy today. Something just for yourself. Maybe watching another ReddX video. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely, definitely deserve it. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.